But okay, guys, I'm actually kind of surprised here by the number of people in the chat who are actually picking Indiana. Really, what are the ramifications of this game? I want to call this the upset of the century if Indiana wins this game. This is the game we've been waiting for. It's the 98th meeting between Ohio State and Indiana. Ohio State is on a 29-game winning streak. This is the first time since 1993 that Indiana is ranked going up against Ohio State. The big question for all of us is, does Indiana go undefeated? We're going to take some picks. Let's start with Justin. You want to go first, or do you want to hold up?
I'll hold up.
You hold up. All right. Peter, what do you got?
45-20 Buckeyes roll. But they pull away late.
That's the wrong one.
That's rolling. Rolling deep.
No, wrong slot. Wrong slot. That's under my name.
Oh, yeah. He picked it too. 48-20. Hey, Ohio State kicks 15 field goals. Just kidding.
All right.
He's never going to pick a touchdown again, ever.
Nope.
Keegan is coming up with 31-24 OSU. Mac has decided to put in 31-25 Indiana.
Doesn't sound very confident.
Let's see. Rob, are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Really worried about the injury to Seth McLaughlin. That has a pretty big setback for the offensive line. Who knows who they're going to put in there. They're going up against the number one rush defense in the country in Indiana. But one thing about Indiana is you saw the talent separation when they went up against Michigan, and if Michigan has a competent quarterback, they beat Indiana. Another thing, ever since Ryan Day has been at Ohio State, I have not seen that team come out and play angry. Sometimes they're just way too nice. So they need to come from the beginning to the end, just like Georgia did against Texas. They just came out swinging, and their defense played lights out. They need to do that, but I have this being a dogfight. Ohio State wins 31-24.
Wow. Panic in the horseshoe.
Nobody cares about the clock. The clock is here. All right.
I can't hear it. We can't hear it, though.
You can't hear it? That's why I do the thing. Okay. Ben, you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. I agree with everything. I think Ohio State's offensive line definitely is now a little more concerned. Indiana, bye week, get to prepare. Indiana's been a great story, but at the horseshoe, I think it is 27-21 Ohio State.
Go ahead, Justin.
Wow. 8 seconds left. All right, Justin, you want to go or you want Garrison to go?
Yeah, Garrison, you want me to go first? I'll take it if you want to.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, all right.
Go.
So Indiana, like you said, is a great story. Ohio State's just a better team. They've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. They've been in big games before. They're playing at home. Ryan Days knows how to coach in these big games. I think that they're going to be the more balanced attack. I think Indiana would need to run the ball a little bit better than they have over the last couple of weeks to have a legitimate shot to beat Ohio State. I think Ohio State's just too good, and I think they're going to show that there's kind of a little bit of levels to this. 35-17 Ohio State.
Come on.
2 seconds left.
Let's go.
35-17.
Like pro.
Felt bad for last time.
All right, Garrison.
All right, so I'm going to take Ohio State 38-20. I think they get away late. Since the Oregon game, we have 32 points against Oregon. Since then, we've only given up 27 points total since that moment. In the third quarter, which is when Ohio State usually makes we have the best. We're ranked number one in terms of third-point differential. We average 12.1, only give up 0.9. Indiana, on the other hand, they score 8.7, but also give up 4.1. I think that's exactly where we win. The Michigan game told me everything I needed to see. When they play better talent again defensively, they get tired. They get weighed on. This is going to be a butt kicking and a curb stomping in the second half. This is going to be ugly. We leave their body on the banks of the old Intangi.
Let's go.
I was was trying to say that actually went up against talented defensive line. The separation showed, and this is a stat that happened in the second half versus Michigan. Indiana had -2 rushing yards, so let's not forget that.
Sorry, I read it.
Nice comment.
You mean that one?
Oh yeah, that one.
That one. Mac also said he's going to be basking in all of your tears Monday. He will bathe in them, hydrate himself with them, and laugh at you while you weep.
Well, judging by your record picking games,
He's going to have 2 more wins than us this week, apparently, according to Mac.
Well, I mean, in all technicalities, if you're drinking our tears are pretty salty. So that means you'll be pretty salty, which means I probably came out on top on this. So,
Facts don't care about you, Mac.
I will gladly take this loss even too in this situation because I think I'd actually prefer to play Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. By the way, Oregon's locked for the Big Ten title game. Year 1.
I've heard that.
While you guys are still fighting for
The greatest day of my life
for second place.
is
Sorry,
when Oregon
Justin,
loses
but
now.
I hope I don't regret my Nebraska pick. I didn't think Nebraska would lose to UCLA, then go on to lose to USC. So,
You're obviously haven't been following Nebraska football very long.
well, yeah, of course, but I just saying I hope I don't.
That type of crap
They
happens
got to
every
be
year.
relevant for us to follow them.
Cliff, by the way, this isn't Urban Meyer's Ohio State. This is not Urban Meyer's Ohio State. I respect Indiana. I think Indiana's really good. I have, while I see all these SEC shills go around just slapping hands for the SEC and saying now, like, why is Georgia that low? It's because Georgia technically got spanked twice this year. No one wants to talk about that. Indiana's and for every other team in college football, we always say, well, you can only play who's on your schedule. And for programs like Michigan and Ohio State, Oregon, and even Nebraska, we'll say for our for programs like that. But for Indiana, it doesn't count. But regardless of that, I don't think they can. Look, man. We're beating like a Cherokee drum. I don't know. I just can't. I've never seen it in my lifetime. So you can't blame me for being this arrogant, even though I know we have an arrogant fan base. You can't blame me. I've never seen it. Like, and it's the same way I felt about Oregon a couple years ago. I've never seen it. It never happened. So
I think Gus Johnson summed up Ohio State's fan base, which I've been saying for years: impatient. And I forgot the other one he said. Shoot, I forgot the other one he said. Oh yeah, entitled. That's right, entitled, impatient and entitled fan base in Ohio State.
I forgot Justin had to bounce. I saw the comment from Rob there, and I'm like, where's Rob going? So anyway, Justin, if you're out there, thanks for being on the show. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks for joining the show, Justin.
But okay, guys, I'm actually kind of surprised here by the number of people in the chat who are actually picking Indiana. I mean, we don't have. I mean, it's not like it's overwhelming. We've got 3. Well, obviously, Mac is picking Indiana because he doesn't like Ohio State. Keegan is picking Ohio State, but we got a couple of guys. We got Troy picking Indiana 35-21. We've got John Jacobs picking Indiana 28-21. But Garrison, before you go, this is my question: that really, what are the ramifications of this game? Let's say for a moment that Indiana has, I want to call this the upset of the century if Indiana wins this game, simply because, like we gave those stats earlier, Ohio State's on a 29-game winning streak against Indiana. Yeah. So if nothing else, this is the upset of the century for Indiana, if they do it. If they do, and Indiana, I forgot, Rob, if Indiana wins, if beats Ohio State, does Indiana end up in the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, they're automatically in. There is no more tiebreaker.
Okay. So there's that. Is there then any repercussions on Ryan Day? I know we do this question all the time, and it always comes up. Is Ryan Day about to get fired if anything like that? What are the ramifications for Ryan Day? But really, the other question is, what's going through the heads of these players right now? Because, and I understand, Ohio State's got a winning mentality, Indiana's got a winning mentality. But these players right now, Indiana is seeing the game of the century. Ohio State is seeing the Big Ten championship and all of their hopes and dreams on this game. What's going through their heads, and what are the ramifications for Ryan Day?
I think for both teams, both coaches, and both programs, they see what's on the line here. And like you said, Indiana, like you would get the ultimate respect. The ultimate respect. And if you're Ohio State, I mean, the Big Ten championship's on the line, but everything else is still in front of you. Because here's the truth of the matter. And no, there would be some. There would be some conversations about Ryan Day. There would. But the truth of the matter is, if I'm and Pete, Rob, let me know if I'm wrong. A lot of it will be alleviated the next week. A lot of it, because the truth of the matter is this: just take away the game. Take away the game for a second. If we lose to Indiana, they're gonna get pushed to number 2 in the nation. They're going to, at the worst 3. So for Ohio State, and I think we would barely lose to them. So for Ohio State, we'd still be in the playoffs. Our only 2 losses is a 1-point loss at Oregon and maybe a barely loss at home to Indiana, who's now a top 3 team in the nation. And Ohio State fans are going to be really upset for about all of 7 days. Because if we win that game, I promise you, I'm going to be okay.
Me too.
I'm going to be okay.
But
I don't care if that team is 11-0. I don't care if they're 0-11. Win that game and I'll be happy.
Wow, way to lower your expectations.
It's not about expectations. It's not about expectations. It's just it's not about expectations for me. For me, what it is.
I agree, Garrison.
I started watching football seriously in 2005 or 2005 or 6. I have only seen Michigan beat Ohio State 6 times in my life. So the first time I saw it 3 years ago, okay, cool. The second time it got annoying. Now I'm pissed off after 3 years.
Well,
so
sorry, Garrison.
No. I'm sorry to say before I get all mad on these airwaves.
I respect the hell out of that opinion, Garrison. I fully agree. Beat Michigan, lose to everybody else. It's a good season.
You have a good point.
I didn't say all that.
Even when Urban Meyer lost those games he shouldn't have, everyone forgot about it as soon as he beat the crap out of Michigan.
Yep.
Not me.
7.
Not me.
7-0 though.
Yeah, there was a difference.
It felt better though. But I will say that there's $20 million here that was put into this team, this coaching staff, all these players coming back. They see that goal. I would be really disappointed. Even though they beat Michigan, that'd be nice. But I'd be really disappointed if they didn't make it back to the Big Ten championship for a shot at revenge against Oregon.
Tiebreaker situation, we were talking about it briefly. So Ohio State, if they lose this, Indiana's locked. But if Ohio State wins, Ohio State still has to then beat Michigan. They're not a lock yet, right?
Yeah. So if Ohio State wins, they end up losing to Michigan. I'm pretty sure Indiana gets in.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to clarify. I was like,
They're
I don't have to worry about this. I'm stress free this weekend. I don't give a hell what happens.
Wait. If you guys lose to Washington, you won't be upset.
Well, of course they will, but they're garbage, and they haven't won a road game this year, and they're at Oregon. So,
Wisconsin was garbage too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but that was on the road, so I'll give Wisconsin the credit. You don't talk bad about the Badgers. How dare you?
Not bad.
All right, let's take this the other way then. Let's assume everything works out the way the odds makers have it. Ohio State wins out. Oregon wins out. We have an Oregon-Ohio State championship. Actually, I got to take that back. My question is, I guess this is more for Ben. Ben, what do you think would be a better game, Oregon-Indiana or Oregon-Ohio State?
It doesn't really bother either way. I'd kind of like to then knock off Indiana also, just to be like, you took out 2 or 3 of the top Big Ten teams in the same season, but you can't play it either way. I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be in Indianapolis. So it'll be a neutral site.
Oh,
it is what it is. I mean,
all right.
Yeah.
Are we talking statistical breakdown, or are we talking just Ryan Day is going to get fired if he loses to Indiana?
either way, I mean, like I say, that question always comes up. It's constant with Ryan Day. Is he going to get fired because of the
No.
not having the greatest record against top 5 teams?
Yeah.
But
He wouldn't be fired, but I think Buckeye Nation would be really angry.
yeah, I think so too.
I stand by this. I mean, we lost, but there wasn't a game on our schedule I think we should be losing. So
Yeah,
and so but that's like an absurd expectation. So I just think no one expected Indiana to be this good. No one did. And so I mean, if we win this game, all propaganda is being spilled that Saturday evening.
Yeah.
I will spill all Ohio State propaganda. Depending on how Will Howard plays, if Will Howard goes out there and lights it up, I'm calling for him to be in the Heisman race over Dylan Gabriel. I will push all of Ohio State's propaganda if we go out there and handle business against Indiana. I think that a lot of people know there's a really good chance that Ohio State's going to go out there and mollywop them. I think it's tough for a lot of people to say. I'm not afraid to say it, but it's also because of what I expect, and also because of what I saw. If Michigan had a 40% better offense, that was a 2-score game in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't want to just take one game and isolate that for Indiana, but it was such an important game for them because you haven't played anyone with that amount of talent at all this season. So.
Now, how do you think with the news today with Seth McLaughlin?
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, Seth McLaughlin
yep.
Being out. How does that impact the Ohio State Indiana game?
We're gonna find out.
So you're not even...
I'm worried. I was worried before. I mean, I was not worried, but I wanted to see what our offensive line would do. And I want to know what Rob thinks about this. Over the last 2 weeks, our offensive line has been really good. They haven't had one penalty call on them.
I agree.
We've had 170 yards total rushing over the last 2 weeks, but Indiana's the number 2 defensive team in defensive rush defense.
They're actually number one.
Number one now. Okay, they're number one now. They're number 1 in the Big Ten in sacks above Ohio State. So in my mind, I'm like, this is where you prove it. This is where you prove your worth. So now that we've lost our center,
that's tough. That's tough. Center is the most crucial part of that O line in the sense of calling plays, blocks.
Protecting.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's a tough loss. I mean, you look at Oregon at the beginning of the first 2.5 games until they figured it kind of out in the third game, about halfway through against Oregon State, without the center Poncho back in where he was supposed to be. That O-line was a mess because the communication was not there. Now you have to replace a center this late in the season. Hopefully the backup, has gotten reps and paid attention. But, yeah, that's tough. That's a tough loss for any team.
The backup's the left guard right now.
We'll see how that goes. It's a tough loss. I mean, it sucks. I hope that guy gets healed up, and I hope he's good to go.
Who does big number 6 line up in front of for Indiana? He's like their best defensive line. I forgot his name.
He's the left end.
All right.
He's over our right tackle, so he's over Fryer.
All right, that's man.
I think Keegan's taking a shot.
There are worries. There are worries in this game that I like legit. Even though I said what I said, 38-20. Even though I think that's the score, that's late in the game, dude. Like there are worries in this game. Things we should be worried about as Buckeye fans.
Yeah. CJ West Keegan says.
I mean, my big worry is that Hinsman, he looks great at guard. Jackson, he looks good at tackle. I think that they should give the backups. Don't move anything else, of course. Put in the backup center, give him a shot, see what it's worth. I mean, they tried a Mahalski. It couldn't get much worse than that. But
he should never set foot on the field again.
oh yeah, I agree, and that's why he's not even if he is healthy again. But you know, my worry is that they're not going to be able to, you know, really establish the run game. They're going to have that kind of game they did against Nebraska because, oh my gosh, we have one missing piece, and what do we do now? That's my worry, that we see an offensive struggle like we saw against Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Hartman's looking downfield for Adrian.
Oh! Carter almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.